Beautiful creatures, hello and welcome to another episode of League on Lock. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and it is no secret how CLG has started. The 2020 spring split 1-7 is not great.
Can you really call it a start?
Well, they're still waiting to start. There's the second half of the round robin, but obviously they believe and feel some changes were needed. And by the way, this was far and away our biggest miss of the preseason. I thought this could be a top 3 team potentially. They could be a top 3 team in the Academy League, maybe.
And a lot of people had this type of miss too, and specifically, we're going to get towards this, talking about this move. That is the one where a lot of people made the mistake here evaluating CLG, thinking that on paper, this is going to be the upgrade. We're going to see the performance come through. Well, we didn't really see a lot of anything come through for CLG.
Crown was an upgrade over Power of Evil on pretty much the same roster. You move him to CLG and it's better pieces all around him. It should work out, but apparently that is change number 1 that CLG is looking to do with Pobelter coming out of, I'm not going to call it retirement. He almost jungled for Team Liquid in week 1. But if you look at the numbers, Crown, in summer, he had some of the best damage numbers, laning numbers, kill share, kill participation. That has not been the case in 2020. He's had a lot of deaths that are just him kind of meandering around the map and dying.
There's been a lot of needless deaths going on there from Crown, and it's disappointing because when he came over here to North America with Optic, a lot of people had questions, right? Again, we were coming off a year where the performance wasn't exactly up to what you would want from Crown and what we have seen from him in the past, in years like 2016 type of things. And we just haven't seen that level of performance again, but we did see it last summer. That's the big thing here, where a lot of people are disappointed.
But then we had expectations, oh no.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You didn't see it until last summer, and then we aren't seeing it anywhere close to that level here with CLG. And yes, part of that does go with the rest of the CLG roster and the way that communication looks to be completely non-existent here for this team, but he's certainly his own individual performance and the way that he's gone about playing in lane here. It has not been pretty, and this is easily to me, an immediate upgrade in the way that this team should be able to perform and move around the map and take things and communicate here. That's my big one with P.O.B coming in. I expect that to be an immediate upgrade.
Yeah, and that's got to be what we would assume is the main issue or the main thought process for the CLG management, because on paper and an individual player standpoint, you've still got to assume that Crown is a little better than Pobelter. He's a world champion. We saw him hard carry a lackluster roster in 2019. But Pobelter, we know he's a good communicator. We know he's been also on winning teams in the LCS at the very least. And remember, he's been on CLG. He won a title here. He's familiar with the organization. And for people who seem to think that he was just terrible on FlyQuest at the end, there was a reason people were upset that he did not get a team initially in spring.
And that's the big one here when we talked about retirement. You kind of put retirement in quotation marks here because, of course, it wasn't really retirement. It was more that nobody picked up P.O.B this off season here, and yet he still absolutely provides value here for these North American teams, let alone with his performance, but also, again, of course, being a domestic mid laner, huge value there for that type of thing. So if this is any type of move towards, being permanent for CLG and a result there for the mid lane, you could see them maybe make an addition here or a change with a different import elsewhere.
You know what I like about this move for Pobelter in particular? You compare this to the situation with Forgiven. And he's on a terrible team, not looking great, and he's not showcasing that he's fantastic. This video by Team Liquid was great. It was
perfect.
Memoriam for Pobelter's 2.5 months as a positional coach. And
I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
It was, he is just synonymous with Team Liquid. That joke doesn't actually work because he did spend a full year there. But Pobelter's coming into a terrible situation and a terrible team, but I'm sure he sees this as an opportunity to play on a starting LCS roster and show other teams, or maybe CLG, that yes, I'm still a starting caliber mid laner, at least in North America.
And again, we're not far removed from seeing success on this CLG roster with, again, the majority of the big key players here on this team still there. We need to see that improvement in their own performance, of course, but adding in Pobelter, adding in that level of communication should help bring up the overall level automatically here with CLG.
And next on the chopping block, if things don't start at least looking better. You've got to imagine it's probably Smoothie in the bot lane, maybe Ruin if he keeps getting a little bit suspect. Maybe we see some academy substitutions coming in. But when you have 3/5 of the same lineup that we're finishing top 3, it just doesn't really make sense here in 2020.
No, and it's unacceptable the way that they have played here so far, knowing what these players are, what they're capable of, and the amount of resources that should be going into being prepared here for CLG. Results have not added up and need to change.
But lucky for us, P.O.B is back in week 5 on the LCS stage.